What up, everybody? Before I even get started, because of the title of this video, let me start off by saying this before I get lit up in my comment section. Technically, Kanan does already have one kill, being Buck 20. But at the same time, technically, D-Wiz did take credit for that kill, and Kanan told D-Wiz that he could have that body. And D-Wiz did also die for that body because the streets needed a body. Also, at one point, Howard told Rock that Kanan can't shoot for. So with all that said, today I'm going to be talking about Kanan's first real body that there's not no question whether it was him or not. And that is Kanan killing his best friend, famous for setting him up. Keep in mind what Kanan told Tariq in Power when Tariq asked Kanan how he could kill his own son. Kanan replied, "Some say you're not a real killer until you kill someone you love." And we know that Kanan does love Famous like a brother. We learned that in Season 1 that the two have been best friends since they were 4 years old. Then in Season 3, Episode 3, Kanan gave Famous that brotherly slap, letting him know that he would him up if he let Rock back into the apartment. And this was not the same type of threat, like "I'm gonna smoke you," just more like he would beat him down or lay hands on him like an older brother would. And in Power, we've seen many brothers fight at one point or another. Ghost and Tommy, Diamond and Jannard, Marvin and Lou, and Kane and Drew have all fought at one point or another. So to think that Kanan and Famous would get into a physical fight at some point wouldn't be too far out of line. But it would have just been more of a brotherly type fight. But now Rock has elevated the circumstances. Never when Kanan told Famous not to let Rock back into the apartment did he think that she would actually plant a gun in his bag and set him up to get arrested. This is similar to Ghost Season 2 when Braden let Kane into the dorm when Kane planted Ramirez's gun and badge on Tariq. The big difference being, Braden never saw Kane plant the gun, while Famous didn't just let Rock into the place when he wasn't supposed to. He watched Rock plant the strap in Kanan's bag, took Rock's money, and never even took the gun out the bag or said anything to Kanan about it. Now, I completely understand Famous letting Rock into the apartment. He already messed up by saying, "Who is it?" So he wasn't just going to sit up there and let Rock pound at the door and make a scene, even though he could have. But after she left, he should have definitely took that gun out of Kanan's bag and kept it for himself. I mean, it's not like Rock was going to mention to Kanan anything about the gun that she planted in his backpack. If anything, she would have just thought that Kanan found the gun or something. At the very least, tell Kanan about it. Tell him your mom was pounding at the door, making a scene, so I let her in, and she planted a gun in your backpack. But to take the money and stay silent about it means Famous played his part in betraying Kanan. Plus, not to mention right now that Kanan doesn't even know what happened. He doesn't even know that Rock was involved in any type of way. Either though we can see him trying to figure things out, as he was eavesdropping on Rock and Howard's conversation. Right now, all Kanan knows is that gun wasn't his and that somebody put that gun in his bag and set him up. But now Rock has made a move that might come back at her later on, placing her and Kanan in the system. And that right there is something you try to avoid at all costs, is getting put into the system. Because that gives them opportunity to dig, ask questions, set rules for your life, and most importantly, keep you stuck into the system. Howard also had to pull some strings to keep the charges from being filed against Kanan. This could also cause problems for him, because by doing a favor for Kanan, this automatically connects him to Kanan's mother, Raquel Thomas. So with that said, Rock might have outsmarted herself on this one, and it could be a move that comes back to take her down later on. Also, what kind of rules are they going to set for Kanan? A curfew? House arrest? Will he be able to still even continue his weed business? And also, how long will Kanan even follow these rules for? Keep in mind that there's a club scene with Kanan and Snaps and Ronnie standing in the background. So that would definitely be at a time past any type of curfew that would have been set. Also keep in mind that earlier in the episode, Paul came knocking at the door, complaining about his business falling apart and not making enough money. But Kanan gave Paul money and assured Paul that he wasn't going anywhere. Also keep in mind that we know that Kanan is going to return back to that area because there are still scenes with him and Ronnie at that same apartment. So will Kanan kill Famous, thinking that Famous set him up? Or will Kanan question Famous about what happened? And if he does, will Famous lie and say that he doesn't know anything about it? Or will he come clean and tell Kanan the truth that it was Rock who set him up? I also think there's a chance that Famous will lie to Kanan and make it seem like he doesn't know anything about it and try to place the blame on Paul. So I definitely think there's a chance that Kanan will think Paul set him up trying to get his business back to normal, and Kanan will smoke Paul. Either way, whether it's Famous or whether it's Paul, I still think there's a good chance that Kanan will catch his first body behind this, ultimately backfiring on Rock, driving Kanan even further into the streets by catching a body. The only reason I have any type of doubt that Kanan might smoke Famous is because Famous smoked Freddy in Season 2. And we haven't heard anything about this since. So before anything happens to Famous, we got to hear at least something mentioned about Famous killing Freddy. Also keep in mind that Detective Garcia has questioned the old man from across the hallway that heard everything when Famous smoked Freddy. But he told Garcia that he didn't know anything. Now here is where things get very interesting. In Power Season 1, Episode 6, Kanan is in prison playing chess with a Spanish guy. The man tells Kanan that he's not going to get him this time. He's been practicing. When Kanan starts laughing and says checkmate, the man immediately lunged at Kanan to start fighting him when Kanan slammed the man down before getting called out of his cell to talk to Sean and telling the man to set the board back up for a rematch when he gets back. Now keep in mind that this man called Kanan K during this chess match, just like how Famous does. Also keep in mind how I mentioned at the start of this video how brothers be getting into fights. So what is the chances that Famous gets locked up for Freddy's murder? And that is who Kanan was playing chess with in Power Episode 106. Also, what if Famous got a 30-year sentence? That would mean he's just about to be released on the Book 2 Ghost timeline. Just some thoughts to keep in mind. And for those who keep telling me that they didn't have spin-offs and prequels planned Power Season 1, I encourage you to read 50 Cent's book, Get Rich or Die Trying, because he mentions having spin-offs and prequels in mind from the very beginning of Power. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.